Welcome back to the Leering Locust Gomi and Gold, a weekly gaming news roundup where we sift through the Gomi to get to the gold. Sorry we skipped a week, unfortunately due to audio issues and personal life drama, we weren't able to deliver last week's action-packed news. But we're back here for you today with some spillover news, so without further ado, let's get to it. This week we got what you came here for, baby! More DEI slop, censorship from Square, Sony's big Concord gaffe, and Ubisoft's corporate scandal. I can't believe you guys are turning me into a DEI outrage YouTube channel, man. Before we start dumpster diving, you might want to save yourself from the stench of other random YouTubers and hit that like, subscribe, and bell notifications. You smell that, Racer X?
Sure do.
Smells like corporate scandal. Amidst the Star Wars Outlaws flopping like a fish out of water, Ubisoft's stocks continue to tank and investors are big mad. An investment firm, AJ Investments, isn't just crying over spilt milk, they're demanding Ubisoft goes private. Why? Because they claim that the shareholders are basically being hostages in a game of corporate chess where the Guillemot family and Tencent are the grandmasters. The Guillemots, who have been running Ubisoft like their personal fiefdom along Tencent, have been accused of playing fast and loose with shareholder value. The narrative is that they're letting the stock prices plummet so they can scoop up more shares at a bargain price. It's like watching a high-stakes poker game where the house always wins, except this time the house is also playing against itself. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot is in the hot seat. Shareholders are fuming, feeling like they've been played. They want Yves out. They want the company taken private and maybe, just maybe, a return to the days when Ubisoft was about making games, not playing stock market Russian roulette. So there you have it. Ubisoft Saga is a blatant reminder that in the gaming world, it's not just about the next big hit, it's about who's holding the controller when the music stops. And right now, it looks like the Guillemots and Tencent might be dancing a little too close to the edge. Honestly, this is pretty crazy news, and the implications are pretty nuts. And this may require its own video at some point. Ubisoft has been under fire lately for its commitment to DEI. Despite news of potential financial ruin, they decided to roll out their Develop at Ubisoft program. Now, here's the kicker. It's exclusive for women and non-binary individuals. Yep, you heard that right. If you're a guy, well, tough luck, bucko. You're not invited to this party. Critics, or should I say the usual suspects on X, are calling it out as discriminatory. Why exclude men? They cry. It's like hosting a barbecue and telling half of the neighborhood they can't come because of their chromosomes. What's a barbecue without having wholesome dad energy on the grill? Ubisoft's response? They're all about creating an inclusive environment, which apparently means excluding a significant chunk of the population. It's like saying, we want diversity, but we want it on our own terms. Whatever that means. It should also be noted that Ubisoft's art director during International Women's Day at Ubisoft scoffed when gamers asked, where are all the white guys?
And it was one of the feedback was from players was, where all the guys are, like, where are the white guys, for example? And we actually had like maybe one or two out of the whole roster.
After making it clear that they were phasing out white men in favor of more diverse characters.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
Some may speculate that we don't have enough data to see that the DEI route may not be the route to go. And to this I say, Square Enix, in their infinite wisdom, decided to play dress up with female characters in Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake. Picture this, you've got your classic beloved designs by the late, great Akira Toriyama, and what does Square Enix do? They throw a modesty blanket over them, turning fan-favorite warriors into nuns, or, as we might say, buns into nuns.
Don't look at me, look at that.
The Japanese fanbase, well, they're not too happy. They're actually up in arms. Imagine walking into a bar, seeing your favorite bartender, and not in her iconic alcoholic glory, but now she's dressed like she's about to lecture you on the virtues of sobriety and Alcoholics Anonymous. That's the vibe. Fans are fuming, saying things like, why not just spit on Toriyama's grave while you're at it? It's not just about the armor, it's about the respect for the legacy. Now, Perhaps correlation isn't causation, but things haven't been looking up for Square Enix since they started incorporating DEI elements into their games. In very recent news during a financial results briefing that took place September 18th, Takashi Kiryu, no, not that Kiryu, president and representative director at Square Enix, said, in the HD Games subsegment, we released multiple new titles, including major titles such as Final Fantasy XVI and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But profits, unfortunately, did not meet our expectations. What should be considered is that sentiment towards DEI-inclined character design probably isn't the only factor, being that Final Fantasy VII Remake was released when people were in lockdown with nothing to do but play video games. Perhaps Square Enix overestimated the amount of time people have, which is clear with how much redundant content was in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, though the core game can't be described as anything but excellent. Now, Square Enix are probably sitting in their boardroom, scratching their heads and their ballsack, wondering why their modernization isn't being celebrated. But here's the thing, when you mess with the classics, especially ones touched by legends such as Toriyama, you're not just tweaking a game, you're messing with memories, with art and what fans hold dear. So, what's the moral of the story? Maybe that when you're remaking a classic, leave the classics alone! Or at least if you're gonna change them, don't act surprised when fans react like you've just burned their childhood diaries. Square Enix might need to learn that some things are better left untouched, or at least, if you touch them, do it with reverence they deserve, not like the creepy uncle they seem to be modeling themselves after. But hey, what do I know? I'm just here to report the chaos, not to fix it. All I know is that my Final Fantasy is seeing Square Enix being a force to be reckoned with again. Remember Concord? The game IGN reported took $100 million to $200 million to make? Well, according... The game that IGN reported took $100 million to $200 million to make? Hey, modern audiences, remember Concord? The game that IGN reported took $100 million to $200 million to make? Well, according to Colin Moriarty, that was a lie! The game actually costed around $400 million to make, and didn't even make back $1 million. For perspective, that's 2/5 of $1 billion. Apparently, Sony was operating out of sunken cost fallacy and kept pouring money in, and well, they got nothing out. According to Colin, the game's development process suffered from an environment that was drenched in quote-unquote toxic positivity, meaning developers couldn't critique bizarre design choices, for example. Concord supersedes God of War, The Last of Us, Uncharted, and other PlayStation classics as the biggest game they've ever made in terms of budget. God, man, I feel sick even mentioning that game in the same sentence as those classics. It's a no one surprise that rumors of layoffs in the company are floating around. Listen, they made an awful game, but it always sucks when people lose their jobs, so, you know, our heart goes out to them. In other news of tone-deaf, quote-unquote, diversity, CD Projekt Red is starting a scholarship program open to anyone and everyone that doesn't have the Y chromosome. That's right, y'all. CD Projekt Red, known for series such as The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077, write verbatim, "Are you a man? Do you dream of getting into a project like CD Projekt but don't have any money? Well, we're sorry, because the next edition of scholarship and mentoring is starting, but only for women." Gosh, Racer X, had I known a press statement would contain so much vitriol, I would have stayed way out of the splash zone. Call me Zer from here on out, okay? It's almost like there's some semblance of a feminist frequency in the airwaves these days. Speaking of which, one of the biggest players in the saga of the original Gamergate debacle is back on the scene. That's right, Anna Sarkeesian is doing game consultation now. Anita was once quoted in saying, "When you start learning about systems, everything is sexist, everything is racist, and everything is homophobic, and you have to point it out to everyone all the time." Would you guys want Anita to consult your video game for you and tell you that everything you're doing is sexist? Leave it in the comments, you homophobes. Who's that Pokemon! It's Bengoshi! That's lawyer in Japanese for you. For all you that don't know, get a picture of Phoenix Wright, Racer X. Gotta catch 'em all! How about you catch this lawsuit, Pal World? That's right, Nintendo is suing Pal World creators Pocket Pair. Nintendo feels as though that if you squint hard enough at Pocket Pair's pals, you may just see something that resembles a Pikachu. Now, anyone that knows about Nintendo's legal practices know that they are incredibly protective of their property. From suing Blockbuster for renting out their games to issuing DMCA complaints against streamers, even sending someone to jail for a 14-month commuted sentence for owing the gaming giants $14 million in damages from what a court ruled. If you want to know more about this whole debacle, just Google Gary Bowser on Twitter. No relation. Grumps tweeted, "Folks, this is Nintendo using lawfare to try and kill an indie studio that embarrassed them by creating a better Pokemon-style game than they did. And I don't support it." At Okami13_ tweets, "Let's hope Nintendo doesn't hear about the Sujimon League in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth." Now, keep in mind, this is hot off the heels of Nintendo winning a $15 million lawsuit against a Pokemon clone, Kyoda Yoguai, Fuklip. That's Chinese. Given Nintendo's history with lawsuits, do you feel as though that Pocket Pair was asking for a lawsuit, or is Nintendo in the wrong here? Just leave it down in the comments if you would. Now, in other news of fiends circling the wagon, we're going to start off by saying congratulations to Saber Interactive. The CCO of Saber Interactive has stated that Todd Hollinshead, the former CEO of ID Software, and I believe that Space Marine 2 is the fastest selling game we've ever worked on, including all of the Quake, Doom, Wolfenstein, and Rage games over the years. But as all who have enjoyed the spoils of war will tell you, with success come those plotting on your downfall. Shortly after celebrating their success, someone claiming to be the CEO of Saber Interactive posted a comment on an Asmongold video, in which paraphrased states, "Space Marine 2 was made as a response to the current state of the industry. He's seen games that, quote-unquote, made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. And it didn't take long for the ravenous hyenas to start salivating." Senior reporter at Kotaku, TruckSongs9, was quick to ask for a statement from Saber Interactive to see if it was actually the CEO posting the comment. After leaving the journalist in Kotaku in the dark for a day or two, the CEO then commented on the statement, neither confirming nor denying that it was in fact him, only stating in a reply to a LinkedIn post, saying, "Whoever wrote that is pretty sharp." Here on this channel, we do not like politically divisive topics or propaganda shoved in our faces like a slice of turd pie, so we're gonna big up CEO Matthew Karch on taking a stand for gamers. And though Space Marine 2 isn't my kind of game, I'm incredibly happy that a game with a sound ethos is making a killing in the game industry. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up on first-person shooters, with one of the series being Marathon. All of the games, 1, 2, and Infinity. When I heard that they were doing a remake, it brought so much joy into my heart. However, I'm not without trepidation in terms of how Sony and Bungie's strategy is going to play out for this game. Hot on the heels of the failure of Concord, it looks like the powers that be are adamant on not making it a play for free, but more so a pay-to-play game, with the target price looking like $40. In terms of game design, Marathon is described as a class-based rather than a hero shooter, with gameplay elements that draw a comparison to Escape from Tarkov, but infused with a Bungie twist. And according to Paul Tassi, the closest point of comparison for Marathon's class/hero system is Apex Legends, but with more customization. There are heroes with individual personalities with a few unique abilities each, i.e. double jump or a fast revive. As for development insights, there are 2 maps that are currently in a playable state. One of them is set on an abandoned colony planet, and the other aboard the Marathon ship. Very cool. As far as reception and feedback goes, feedback from the playtest has been somewhat positive, with sentiments suggesting that the game feels that it is worth the potential $40 price tag. As for marketing, a new trailer for Marathon is reportedly in production, signaling upcoming marketing efforts to build hype or provide more details about the game. But there are some implications for Bungie. The success of Marathon is seen as crucial for Bungie, especially amidst internal challenges like low morale due to leadership changes and concerns about Destiny 2's future. And according to Paul Tassi, we won't be seeing a showcase of this game till spring 2025. Are you like me and just want to see Bungie finally get a win? Will you be paying $40 for Marathon? More importantly, would you like to see a dead franchise like Marathon come back from the dead in its full glory? Leave it down right in the comments. Alright, last one wasn't exactly Gomi, but let's get on with the gold. Helldivers, get your ass back to those hell pods. After admitting that they've lost their way, Arrowhead Studios seems to finally be catching a break and are having a really good week. After months of scrutiny from fans, it seems as though that the developer has finally released a patch that fans have been asking for. On Steam, the player count went from under 20k to over 50k, making this update bring back more players than the Escalation of Freedom update. And the wins don't stop there. They received their first game of the year from the Swedish Game Awards. We stream Helldivers all the time on my Twitch channel, and we're pretty damn decent at doing the highest level dives. Check the link in the description to catch the stream. After getting completely roasted by the internet, we had a whole roast on this channel that couldn't get uploaded last week. Sorry about that, guys. Sony snatches another win from the jaws of defeat. The company has unveiled the design for the 30th anniversary collection for the PS5 Pro and Standard. And folks, the internet loves it. And so do I. The design is so cheeky and I want one. Well, Star Wars Outlaws may have been a dud, but if you are a fan of Cal Kestis' adventures, rejoice! Though the director of the first two games has left the studio, you got a third and final game coming your way from the developer Respawn. And if you don't like it, you can Cal Kest this good. Alright. Sharpen up your keyblades. It looks like the Kingdom Hearts series is coming to a finale, or that's what it sounds like. According to the interview with the Zipper King himself, Tetsuya Nomura, the story will be a bit of a reset and allow new players to hop in and will contain concepts seeded within the first Kingdom Hearts games, such as Sora's quote, "Is any of this real or not?" And the city where the game takes place, Quadratum is not a one-for-one of real-life Tokyo and is described as, it feels like a dream, an unreality in reality, and was originally formulated by Nomura back in the day. I know I said in another video that I wouldn't play another Kingdom Hearts game ever again, but I can't lie, this has got me kind of intrigued. What are your thoughts? Were you a fan of mobbing around with Goofy and Donald, or are you a grown adult like me? Leave it down in the comments. Tetsuya Nomura also revealed that the reason why he designs attractive characters in his games stems from a time where he played as an Uggo in a friend's game and thought to himself, why do I have to play as an Uggo in a fantasy? So yeah, he decided to make everyone sexy after that. Good on him. But Square doesn't want to keep things too sexy. Final Fantasy XVI's producer, Naoki Yoshida, kindly asked PC players to not make or install offensive or inappropriate mods. So if you want to witness Benedicta Harmon's bazongas in their full glory, what am I saying? You're probably going to do it anyway, aren't you? You slimy little gooner. I see you in the corner with one hand on the lube and the other on the mouse about to click this video out. Don't think I don't see you.
Ahoy, matey, set your sights on like a dragon pirate Yakuza Ahoy, where the legendary Goro Majima, now fearsome captain of the Goromaru, sails his modern seas in search of treasure and lost memories. This swashbuckling adventure sees Goro Majima assembling a crew that's anything but landlubbers, exploring exotic locales of Hawaii, all while dishing out pirate-themed combat with a knack for nautical mischief. It's a pirate's life for Majima, blending the Yakuza tough-as-nails spirit with the freedom of the high seas, promising an over-the-top treasure-hunting tale that'll make you go argh in excitement.
The game will take place 6 months before the events of Infinite Wealth. We actually streamed the RGG event as it took place, and man, I swear to God, my reaction to seeing this game cracked me up.
Majima the pirate! It makes so much sense. I don't know why I didn't connect him having an eye patch to him being a pirate. Dude, this is so dumb. I love it.
And I can't wait to play it. And that's it for this week. Will you be sailing the seas with our favorite gangsta pirate Majima? What makes you happy? What news gets you pumped? Which news gone stink like a skunk? Did I miss anything? Leave it down in the comments. I'm Locust. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you on next week's roundup.